I first saw Curtly Ambrose during a triangular series, West Indies, Australia and New Zealand in Australia. And it was Dean Jones asked him to take his sweatband off. And I'll never forget that, where Ambrose stopped in the middle of the wicket and couldn't believe that Dean Jones actually asked him to take his sweatband off, because it was white and you're not supposed to have a white sweatband with a white ball because it doesn't make any sense. And it's, you know, it didn't take him long to sort Dean Jones out. But the capability of doing that, to actually go out there and actually execute that and hit him on the, you know, square on the head and get him out, and then telling him where to go and stick the sweatband, was brilliant footage. It was just absolutely to back it up, and to be able to do that was, you got to be on your game. And for me, Curtly Ambrose had a streak. He had a very mean streak, as I found out when he laid me out on the pitch in 1998 in the series in South Africa. Is that he never gave anything away. He never said a word, but the face told many stories. And you know, the eyes, you just had to flick back his head and you knew what was about to come. He for me had probably one of the best bounces in the game, because it wasn't as short as most people, because he was such a tall man. He could actually pitch it a little bit further up, which meant that it was always hitting the target, or just missing you. It was steep bouncer. I saw a spell against Steve Waugh where it almost came, the two guys nearly came to blows, where Steve Waugh didn't back down. And that spell on a bit of a dodgy Trinidad wicket was up and down, and I think Steve Waugh got absolutely punished everywhere, in the ribs and the arms and whatever it was, but he stood his ground. Then there was another spell, I think in Perth, where he took, was it 6 for 1? Yeah. Another spell in Trinidad again against England. He had the luxury of being 6'10", and I think that because it didn't take a lot of effort to really bowl a really good bouncer. He had the most beautiful wrist. It was all sloppy and all arms, but it was just a mess. You know, we often talk about when we're trying to tweak something out of a bowler is to use your wrist properly. And it just came natural to him that he wasn't express pace, but he was quick. He was quick enough. You know, I'm talking 145. That's quick enough. But what made him difficult to play is his enormous bounce. And he never, I could swear that at times that I've seen him or faced him, did not bowl you a half volley. You could not. He hardly tried to pitch the ball up, and he just was relentless in his areas, just locked you away from one end, and he made you work so hard. And I think the batsman that was successful against him left him on bounce. But when you leave him on bounce, he was always fourth stump. He was never far away. But I think that, and obviously the one spell I forgot to mention was our first test match against the West Indies in 1991, where Walsh and Ambrose cleaned us up. And again, you know, it's fascinating to see when it really mattered, Ambrose was always there, stuck his hand up and bowled and completely demolished batting lineups when it really mattered. And that's what it meant to Curtly Ambrose. And I think that when you speak to young guys or in team meetings about wanting to be in that position to make a difference, I think that Ambrose is one of those. He was absolutely magnificent. Yes, to have a Walsh on the other end, and maybe a Marshall, which he played with, not very much, but that was unbelievable to see that guy take that responsibility, and that being that intimidating when it needs to be, and execute also in a time of crisis. I think he was definitely right up there in my estimation.